Couple of days back, we reviewed the 2022 Royal Enfield Himalayan. And like I said, I had quite a few gripes with the motorcycle, be it the clutch or the gearbox or the brakes. My question here is, what if we had a motorcycle which is as good as the Himalayan and comes without the flaws of it? The sure answer to that is yes, we do. Ladies and gentlemen, Royal Enfield has got you covered because today we are going to talk about the all-new Royal Enfield Scram 411, which is Royal Enfield's latest offering on the table. So let's get right into it. In terms of design, it looks quite similar to the Himalayan, right? Of course it is. However, there are quite a few prominent changes, starting with the front end. It loses the windshield and the headlight is placed lower than on the Himalayan, and it comes attached to the handlebar. Speaking of the handlebar, it is now placed lower and closer to the rider. It gets 19-inch front wheels instead of the 21-inch ones as on the Himalayan. It gets a completely different instrument cluster from the Himalayan. Also, the rear fender is shorter than that of the Himalayan. You can also see that the bulky metal tank guards are now gone, and it loses out on the main stand too, which you can now buy as an accessory. Now, all of these changes have resulted in a massive weight reduction of the motorcycle by about 14 kgs, making the curb weight of the Scram 411 to stand at a staggering 185 kgs. Even though it still manages to harness the same 15-litre fuel tank on it as on the Himalayan. What this weight reduction and the downsizing of the front wheel means is that the Scram 411 handles so light as the wheelbase is now shorter that you can slice through traffic like a piece of cake. Coming to the engine, the Royal Enfield Scram 411 gets the same 411cc single-cylinder motor which is present on the Himalayan. And this motor too is BS6 compliant. The power and the torque figures are also the same, which means that this motor churns out about 24.3 bhp of max power at 6500 rpm and 32 Newton meters of max torque at 4500 rpm. However, what Royal Enfield has basically done is that they have put in a new map to the ECU, which makes the engine more fuel efficient and smoother than before. The clutch is lightweight and the gearbox is butter smooth, which gives you a joyous riding experience every single time. Braking on the Scram 411 is done by a 300mm single disc on the front and a 240mm single disc on the rear. It gets dual channel ABS as standard. The feedback the bite from both the brakes is commendable, and it boosts a lot of confidence when you go real hard on the brakes. However, my only gripe being that it does not get a switchable ABS option like on the Royal Enfield Himalayan. So you gotta remove the ABS fuse altogether in case you go trail hunting, but keep in mind that you do not have ABS even on the front if you plug out the ABS fuse. Suspension setup on the Scram 411 is same as that on the Himalayan, which means on the front it gets a 41mm telescopic suspension with about 190mm of travel, and on the rear it gets a monoshock with linkage with about 180mm of travel. However, what is different in the setup is the damping and the rebound on the springs, and let me tell you, they do their job pretty well, offering you a plush ride quality. Adding to the ride quality is the entirely new single seat, which also gets a completely different set of foam and cushioning as well. The Royal Enfield Scram 411 gets button tubeless spoke tires from Seat. On the front is a 19-inch 100x90 profile setup, and on the rear is a 17-inch 120x90 profile setup. The tires provide ample traction on the road and off the road to a certain extent as well. Price of the Royal Enfield Scram 411 starts at Rs 2.03 lakhs ex-showroom, which is about 10,000 rupees cheaper than on the Himalayan. Man, the pricing is sweet. Also, the Royal Enfield Scram 411 is offered in 7 different color options. So go ahead, choose your Scram. The motorcycle is a damn good package. But still, there are quite a few things which haunt you. For example, the ground clearance is now 200mm instead of the 220mm ground clearance as on the Himalayan. However, that should be enough for our practical Indian road conditions. The motorcycle lacks the stability that the 21-inch wheels provide. However, the 19-inch wheels do the job well unless you encounter serious technical terrain. To cut it short, this motorcycle is the one motorcycle you can have in your garage which can go on the highway and off of it occasionally. What more could you ask for at this particular price tag? That, ladies and gentlemen, will all be about my first ride experience on the all-new Royal Enfield Scram 411. I hope you guys liked the video, and in case you do not forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. In case of any queries or promotions, write to me on the below email ID or simply hit me up on Instagram. I'll see you soon with another video. Ciao.